And now our top story, new details in a heartbreaking crime. A 15-year-old girl is dead, and police say her father confessed to killing her.
The big question tonight is why.
What if listening to a child's honest opinion could save their life? When Zaria begged not to be sent to her father that fateful weekend, her mother still insisted she had to go. But she did not know that this was the last time she would see her daughter alive. Zaria Burgess was sexually assaulted and brutally murdered by her father. The motive of the murder and the style of killing were what further complicated issues. Warning: this investigation contains shocking details that may be unbearable for sensitive individuals, especially those who find violence and cruelty to children extremely difficult to process. Zaria Jocelyn Burgess was born on the 23rd of December 2003 as an early Christmas gift for her mother, Akeisha Pope, and father, Joshua Burgess. What made it special was that her father's birthday was just 2 days later, on Christmas. When Keisha and Joshua met at Weddington High School, they were teenagers. The young couple was only 15 and 16 years old when Zaria was born, and just like most teenage couples, Akeisha and Joshua eventually separated. After the breakup, Zaria mainly lived with her mother in Union County, North Carolina, but her father remained very present in her life. The parents had made plans where she would visit her father during weekends and be with her mom during weekdays. Joshua spent every minute with her daughter when she came to visit him. In his social media posts, he admired his daughter, called her his mini-me, and shared numerous photos with captions noting how much he loved his daughter. He was present at her birthdays, movie outings, regular weekend visits, and much more. And many considered Zaria a happy girl who had his presence in her life. According to those who knew Joshua, he was cool and no one expected the horrific scene he would later create. By the late 2000s and 10s, Zaria was already a teenager and a promising star at her Monroe school. She was part of both the dance team and the school orchestra. Her orchestra director, Alan Sturtevant, said she was full of energy and was a perfect member of school organizations. According to all accounts, she was extremely happy, seemingly an ordinary teenage girl who loved to laugh, spend time with friends, go to the movies, and do everything that teenagers typically enjoy. However, not everything was as cloudless as it appeared on the surface. According to testimonies, one of Zaria's closest friends told her mother that Zaria had confessed to her how much she actually disliked spending time at her father's house. She expressed concern that her father had serious anger issues and would sometimes rage at her for no reason. She also claimed that Zaria said she didn't feel accepted by her father's side of the family, as he was white and her mother was black, making her biracial. Zaria's friends and their parents suspected that Joshua might have been using drugs, but he never confirmed this. Akeisha was accustomed to weekends without her child and used this time to be part of a dance group at her church. The only way for her to go there was to send Zaria to her father. On the weekend of August 17, 2019, Zaria begged and pleaded with her mother not to send her to her father's house. However, her mother insisted. Zaria was so adamant about not going that she sent a message to one of her friends asking to stay overnight, but the friend replied that she couldn't because her family had their own plans for the weekend. Therefore, unfortunately, Zaria had no choice but to go to her father's house. To this day, that friend regrets not allowing Zaria to stay with her. At that moment in time, Akeisha didn't perceive her daughter's hesitation as a warning sign. Instead, she just attributed it to teenage behavior when teenagers want to do what they want and show disobedience. So she still sent her daughter and she remained to be part of the church dance group. But what Akeisha didn't know, and probably could never have imagined even in her worst nightmares, was that this would be the last time she would see her daughter. Sunday, August 18th, 2019, approximately 9:24 in the morning, something unexpected happens. 32-year-old Joshua Burgess walks into a police station and tells the first officer he sees that he is turning himself in for a crime. The officer says, "Okay, let me get your name and check the system for any warrants for your arrest." But Joshua stops him and laughs, saying, "No, you don't need to do that. You won't find me in the system. I just killed someone." At this point, police invite him into an interrogation room to give a full statement. Joshua gave the police a complete confession about what he had just done. He named his daughter's full name and, with zero emotion, as calmly as possible, explained that he had just taken his daughter's life, and if they went to his house now, they could find her body at 5 on 100 Hampton Meadows Road in Union County, Monroe, North Carolina. The police went to the address provided, and indeed, there they found the body of 15-year-old Zaria Burgess. The scene that investigators encountered could be described as something straight out of a horror movie. When they opened the door to Joshua's house, they entered the living room where they found Zaria's body in a very disturbing state without clothing, with traces of numerous injuries throughout her body, with a serious wound in the neck area, and her hands and feet were restrained with handcuffs. Joshua had positioned Zaria's body as if showcasing his deed, especially considering what he told the police during his confession. If you are still watching and following the story to this point, please give it a thumbs up. It helps us in our quest of raising awareness and honoring the innocent lost lives. Although Zaria's body had numerous wounds, the examination determined that the cause of death was a deep neck injury, officially described as a sharp object wound to the neck. But these are not all the disturbing details of what happened. Before inflicting fatal injuries on Zaria, Joshua tortured his daughter for more than 22 hours. He committed sexual assault against his own child, psychologically abused her, and applied strangulation. Joshua was charged with 1 count of first-degree murder, statutory sexual assault of a person 15 years or younger, 3 counts of first-degree sexual assault, first-degree kidnapping, and first-degree sexual exploitation of a minor. In all the articles and news stories that were published, there was no information about any previous instances of abuse between Josh and Zaria, apart from mentions that he was angry or that she didn't want to be around him. There were no mentions that he physically harmed her, or violence between him and her mother Akisha. There are no reports of this in their family history. Although there were mentions of drug addiction, it was still strange. Was he a pervert all these years and was just good at hiding it? Or was there violence that simply was never documented? How can a father just wake up one day and just say, "You know what? Today I let the devil take over my flesh and commit this horrible act on my own child"? After Zaria's death, internet detectives began searching for possible motives why her father, who outwardly appeared to love his daughter very much, would kill her in such a horrible way. Detectives stated that his main motives for the murder were lust and control. However, the state of North Carolina kept information about this case secret, which caused a lot of speculation on social media. These internet detectives investigated Joshua's Facebook page and began accusing him of being a white supremacist based on racially charged memes he posted. Particularly with Barack and Michelle Obama, they also pointed to various pages he liked, including Donald Trump's pages, Fox News, and the now defunct occult organization, Flame of the Serpent. Because of this, they suggested that Zaria's death was a kind of ritual murder for entry into a white supremacist group or a satanic cult. One of the most disturbing posts made by Joshua was from February 8, 2016. In it, he is holding a cabbar knife with a long blade. In the background, an assortment of other folding knives can be seen. The caption said, "I just really love cutting people." Oops, I meant things. I love cutting things. In June 2022, after 3 weeks of trial, 35-year-old Joshua Burgess was sentenced to death for the murder of Zaria, as well as an additional 76 years for other charges he was found guilty of. The execution protocol was by lethal injection. According to detectives, Joshua explained several motives for his actions during his confession, but two main themes that ran through everything as stated earlier were control and lust. According to information from witnesses who were present in the courtroom during the replay of Joshua's confession, he spoke without any remorse and said that he had planned all of his sinister weekend with Zaria, from breakfast with her to the horrible acts he imagined he would commit, and fantasized about it all day until he surrendered to the police. He allegedly stated that he had a natural feelings toward Zaria, and as she grew older, he didn't want her to be with anyone else. He wanted her to belong only to him in the most sick, perverted sense. It is also alleged that he said he initially planned to create a scene at the police station when he came to surrender so that they would shoot him. Essentially, this would have been suicide by police. However, he eventually gave up on this because he was afraid to die. According to those present, Joshua claimed that he enjoyed every moment of what he did to Zaria and that these were the best weekends of his entire life. After he inflicted severe injuries on Zaria and strangled her, he thought she was already dead, but the girl managed to gather her last strength and tried to save her life. She mustered enough courage and strength. She got up and rushed towards the door in a desperate attempt to escape, but Joshua caught up with her, grabbed her, and inflicted a fatal wound to the back of her neck, then placed her body on the living room floor. Union County Sheriff Eddie Cathy said, "The details of this murder are unspeakable. We continue to grieve with Zaria's mother and pray for her." Zaria's funeral service was held on August 25, 2019 at the Christ Discipleship Bible Worship Center in Marshville, North Carolina. The Monroe High School Red Storm School Orchestra dedicated their performance at the 2019 Battle of the Bands in Dillon, South Carolina to Zaria. Zaria's family was devastated by her loss. No punishment will ever seem sufficient for the sick demon who committed such a crime. This story breaks the heart and is a terrible reminder of how important it is to listen to our children's concerns and be vigilant about warning signs that may arise, even when the family outwardly seems normal. But if you think that this father is the only heartless murderer, then you have not yet watched my other video on the wife who ordered her boyfriend to kill her husband for insurance money.